Hello everyone, Niko Amii here, and I'm with my cookie, and I was sitting in the car today. Okay, this was in the passenger seat, not in the front seat, so don't be like, what are you doing, like playing on your 3DS while you're driving? Safe driving skills right there. But no, okay, so I was sitting in the passenger seat, looking at my 3DS with Pokemon Sun in it, and I was like, why do I not want to replay this game? Why did I enjoy my playthrough of Pokemon Moon so much to the point where it was probably my favorite playthrough of any Pokemon game? But 3 months later, when I want to play Pokemon Sun, I have no urge to play it. I was thinking to myself, I played Pokemon X and Y like 3 times in the first year I had it, 2 times by now in the X and Y time period compared to the Sun and Moon. So why am and I enjoyed my Sun and Moon first playthrough more than I enjoyed my X and Y first playthrough. So why do I not want to play Sun, my second playthrough of Sun and Moon? And I thought, I did a lot of research to this. I've Googled this a couple times before, people's thoughts on Pokemon Sun and Moon 3 months after. Because obviously, when the game first comes out, you're a lot like, why, what other people think now? Like, when you first get the game, everyone's so excited about it, and it is so inflated in their ratings of it because they love it so much. But three months later, you have it, like, your humbled down opinion on it. So I Googled it, and a lot of people said, it was so story-driven to the point where hold handsy that they didn't have an urge to play it again. It was a great story, a great gameplay playthrough, but because it was so hand-holding and so story-driven that playing through it again doesn't really give you a different experience. And then I thought to myself, okay, that's why I don't want to play it anymore. Though I enjoyed my playthrough of Sun and Moon more than I enjoyed my first playthrough of X and Y, X and Y is not that story-driven. It has a little bit of story, but that's not the main focus in X and Y. It's more of a, here's 3D, explore this new region, make a new team. There's so, like, there weren't many new Pokemon, and the region dex was so big. I had a huge variety. You got 2 starters, so many choices. So your playthrough of it wasn't that linear. It didn't tell you where to go. Sure, you had to go somewhere, but it didn't tell you where to go, like in Sun and Moon. Sun and Moon, it told you exactly where to go, and I'm not a huge fan of that. I like the exploration point of the game. Meanwhile, in Sun and Moon, it told you exactly where to go. A lot of places were blocked off till later in the game. Whereas in X and Y, you were somewhere, you had to go somewhere, but you weren't told where that was. So you got to explore a lot more. So that brought the question, linearity in video games, a story-driven linearity, you know, going one place to one place to one place, very linear, you don't get many choices, versus more of an open world aspect. Now obviously X and Y is an open world, so this goes against that comparison, but do I enjoy linear plot-driven games or more open world, not as plot-driven games? So to bring up another Pokemon comparison, the very, I would say, open world game of Pokemon is Red, Blue, and Yellow, where you could really go any city. All the cities were so connected. Yes, you had to go to gym to gym to gym, but they were so connected, and you really could go any way, anywhere, anyhow. So I really enjoy that, but obviously Sun and Moon had a much better story. So I think the real problem lies in this. You can't really replay a super story-driven game more than once and have the same experience, because it's going to be dry. Not that that's a bad thing, but your first playthrough is a magical experience. You have this amazing storytelling that you're going through. But playing through it again, because it's so focused on that story, it's so boring and dry because you feel like you did this exact same thing. And that's how it feels like playing Sun and Moon right now. It feels like I'm forcing myself to do it because I feel like I just did this huge storyline, and going through it exactly point to point to point again just isn't fresh. Whereas in X and Y, you have, like, you can just pick this crazy different team. You can go at any really pace or direction you kind of really want. I mean, yes, it is a star, so you have to go this way, but You can get sidetracked and do other things, where in Sun and Moon, I don't get that same feeling. And because X and Y isn't story-driven, you really get to make your own plot in a way. If that makes any sense. I know that sounds like, oh, that's such an excuse for a bad plot or not a big plot. But it's kind of true. Now, to give a different comparison, something like Skyrim or Breath of the Wild versus like a Twilight Princess. Twilight Princess isn't like completely linear because you can still explore the world, but compared to Breath of the Wild, it is linear. So I'm gonna have to play Breath of the Wild and then compare it, and I might make this video again later to see if I enjoy Twilight Princess more or Breath of the Wild. And again, it's also which game is better. I mean, you can have a really good open world game and a really bad linear game, or a really good linear game and a really bad open world game, and that would get lost in the trance. But my question for you today is, do you like more linear plot-driven games, or do you like more up to you deciding things? You get to go at the pace and direction you want. That doesn't mean there's no story, okay? Like I like in Skyrim, I didn't beat the game, really get that far, but it's more like you get to choose your direction, and I like that. But like, I mean, like, in general, do you like it when games are more open, more you can decide where to go, or do you like it more when it's linear, more focused on the plot? It tells you where to go and when to go and holds your hand. In some cases, that's better to me because in the first playthrough, the story is so good and the connection is so pure. But when you replay it again, it's dreadful because you just like there's no difference in the second playthrough. But in the second one, in the second idea, open world, the story might not be as good and you might not be involved in the game, but replaying the game and playing the game the first time would be more fun because you get to make your own story about it. And I thought about this again yesterday, or I thought about it a little bit yesterday too, when I watched an interview with Miyamoto and Aonuma. I'm sorry, I'm bad at pronouncing his name, Aonuma, the guy who made, like, the director of Breath of the Wild and other Zelda games. They said in this game, Link isn't Link. He's what you make him. He's you. Does that make sense? Like, Link isn't a set character, it's what you make him be. If you want him to be bulky with all his armor, super strong, super, like, strong and, like, beefy but kind of slowish, and you want him to go straight to the bosses and straight to the big guys, or do you want to be, like, I don't know, less, like, bulky clothing, more fast Link, and more bows and... My dog just got into the trash. I will talk to you as I pick it up. Or do you want Link to have bow and arrows and be faster and more light, like with light armor and stuff? It's up to you. And do you want him to go at a slower pace and go to the water dungeon first, or do you want him to go to the big mountains first, or do you want to go to the plateau first? Like, you are Link. Link isn't a set character that has to go on a set designated path. And I like the appeal of that. Comparing Super Mario Galaxy to Super Mario 64, where it's the same kind of thing. Super Mario 64, you get to pick exactly where you go. You get to pick the direction. You get to go at your own pace. You get to pick what stars you go for first, what levels you go to first, what worlds, power-ups, whatever. There's so many different... The story is your own. That's another thing that Miyamoto said. The story, everyone's story will be different, and I love that. Everyone's experiences will be different. I love that. And I feel like when you have a super story-driven game, you don't have that. And that's not a bad thing either. It's just what your personal preference. Personally, I like less story-driven, more you make the story your own games. But I know other people don't like that. But that's the question of the video. So comment down below. I'm screaming at you. What games do you like better? Do you like the more linear games, or do you like the more open world games? I've probably said it like 100 times, but Super Mario Galaxy is such a great gameplay, but it's more linear. So it does depend on the game, but in general, I think I like the more you choose your own way. You make your own story. I like a story being there, but I don't like it being shoved down your throat and you being forced to follow its set way. If that makes sense. Unless it's really good. But if I had to choose between a really good gameplay that you get to make the story your own versus a really good gameplay where the story is predetermined and how you travel is predetermined, I think I would go with the open world one. That was a solid like 20 seconds of me just eating a cookie. What is my YouTube channel? Thanks for watching. If you enjoy this type of discussion video, hit subscribe and tell me you liked it so I can make more. That'll give me the signal. But I just had the weird thought, and I've thought about this before, but I've made like Reddit posts in the past where like I ask people this type of stuff, and it's 50-50 across the board about it really comes down to there's pros and cons to both. And I really thought about it today when I was thinking, why don't I want to play Sun again when I wanted to play X and Y again? Yet I liked my first playthrough of Sun and Moon more than I liked my first playthrough of X and Y. And that's what came up. That's what I thought I was thinking. So yeah, thanks for watching. Subscribe. See you guys later. Buy yourself a cookie. Bye.